Well, first, you're going to come in with a positive attitude. You're not going to focus on the negative. Next, I want to change the times of the meetings. 5 o'clock for a study session, 6 o'clock for a board meeting. It's not realistic to get the community involved. That's dinner hour, that's commuting hour. We need to make sure that we make these more accessible. I would also like there to be more detail on the agendas. The agendas are available at the office. You can pull them up online, but they're very vague. I would like to see just a little more detail on it so that if parents are reading the agenda or the community is reading the agenda and they look at an item, they can understand what's going on. Do they want to be there in attendance? Do they want to hear the presentation? Do they have some concerns or comments that they want to make on that? I would like more timely posting of the minutes. I know right now I've watched on the city website, they post their agenda right after the meeting. They actually go back and post on the agenda the action that was taken on the item. They don't get to post the minutes because the minutes have to still be approved, but at least people will know the next day they can go and they can look, oh, well, that was approved, no, that was tabled, that was discussed. I think that would be a very good tool to communicate with our community on what's going on. I would also like to maybe change up the way that the presentations are being made in board meetings so that the more public input. When we have a new program or a new policy or an idea that's presented, it's presented and staff are the only ones that can talk about it. The board can discuss it, but questions may arise in the public community as this is being presented. They might have a question, oh, what about this, or what about that? But they're not given the opportunity to express those concerns, and the item is already voted on by the board. I want to make sure that the public has adequate input. I would also like to work more with the community in the city. I would propose that a board member take turns attending the city council members' meetings as well as the city council members attending the board meetings. I think it's important that the two entities communicate together, and I would like to see more projects done with the city. I would also like to see our meetings televised. There are parents that can't get away that do want to know what goes on at the board meetings. And there's no really way of doing that without being televised. Again, this is another thing that we could possibly work with the city on. They already have all the equipment, and maybe we could even incorporate a program with the high schoolers, the tech kids, to maybe that could be part of a class for them that they could learn something. This is an area that we can grow on. We have the qualified staff, and if we have the commitment, we can do it. I just want to be positive and productive, and we can, if we respect one another, our board meetings can really reflect that.
Okay, thank you. Carrie.
Again, she kind of said a lot of it. I'll just be really brief. One of my big things, in addition to a lot of that, is that I would love to see the school board not rush to make a decision. A lot of times a presentation is made, we don't get quite enough time to hear community input, and then under consent agenda they're approving it. I would love to see, especially on hot button issues. I'm not saying on every issue. I mean, you know, approve the list of donations because you don't need to wait on that. But if it's a really important issue, not wanting to talk about it and then vote on it the same night. I think it's important to give a little bit more time and give the community the opportunity to ask questions or give input. I'm not going to pretend to know everything. I don't. There's people in the community who probably know a lot more about some things than I do, and I would welcome them having the opportunity to ask those questions that maybe I didn't think to ask, that are important in order to make an educated, informed decision on what's best for the kids. I would love to see the community have the opportunity. I don't know if there's a way to do it with open meeting laws and everything the way it's scheduled, but I'd love to see them be able to ask questions after a presentation instead of just waiting for a call to the public. I think it's important for all the board members to have the opportunity to be heard instead of, you know, talking over each other, and making sure that we treat viewpoints with respect. Like Patty said, we're not going to agree all the time. And I think most importantly, above everything else, we have to be professional, and we have to adhere to board policy and open meeting laws. It's the rules of the law. We can do it.
Yeah.
I thought for a minute they were reading off of my paper I set up here. You guys can't see me. I think one of the keys is to be well informed. Again, I've been to so many board meetings where it seems like I've had this view, with Tracy being an exception, of board members becoming board members the minute they sit down. I think it's important for them to do their own personal research on some of the issues to get a better understanding of what's all involved. We need to focus and stick on the issues and honor all individuals' viewpoints, regardless of what direction they go. We need to honor individual board members' requests for additional information and agenda items. I know Patty brought up about we'd like to see some changes in the agenda and how things are addressed. And I agree with both Patty and Carrie in regards to having community members use their expertise, because we can only research so much, and it just seems that board meetings now, the cities can't come in and give a presentation, and it looks like deer in headlights. And we need to be on top of what's going on. I think Carrie's recommendation to maybe let something stew so we have more time was a great idea. One of the things that I guess it bothers me at board meetings is the number of community members that come up and speak at calls to the public, or the administration coming up and giving a presentation. There's absolutely no eye contact. And I don't see how people could think that we care, because we're not paying attention to them. So obviously, we're too busy reading a board packet to see where we go next. And there's a saying that Century 21 used to have that people don't really care what you know, but they want to know how much you care. And I think that's something that's very important and vital for this board to be able to show. I think it's also important to address parents' concerns and make sure and do follow-up to make sure that they're being addressed by the district. I get emails, phone calls, and all types of communications from parents saying, "Can you help me with this?" And for the most part, all I can do is point them in the right direction and hope it gets solved. But I'd like to see board members actually follow up on what happens. Again, it's part of holding the district accountable, but I think the administration, to a large degree, is overwhelmed. I think they have too many things on their plate. And again, I met with an administrator recently where we talked about that very issue and what life would be like if we could minimize those fires and focus on some of the key issues for that individual, what it would do to the district. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's important that we help minimize, again, all the fires that are going on, and so we can focus on the big problems.
Working relationship between the board and the district will go a long way to create a more positive and productive environment. She's willing to make an effort to bridge the gap that currently exists between the two. There will always be differing opinions, but those differences cannot be taken personal. As a board member, she will be entrusted to make the best decision for the community, the students, and the district. She will follow the rules of order and maintain a level of professionalism, and she will personally work to encourage a better level of community involvement through her own personal community outreach.